So recently we covered how the podcast Deep Fat Fried got a strike because there was a joke that was told that was interpreted literally by whoever was monitoring the podcast from YouTube. So this is something that really shocked TJ and Scotty and Paul's ego, the hosts on the podcast, and they appealed. They were like, "What are you doing?" So to give the context to everybody, Scotty made a joke about, the Trump cultists who really believed the election was stolen, and he put on the accent and was like, Donald Trump won this election fair and square, something like that, to that effect. It was a joke. It was obviously a joke. If you look at it in context, nobody could come away thinking it wasn't a joke. It was beyond clear. And anybody who knows their politics knows that they're Bernie Sanders type leftists, and so, duh, of course it's a joke. Well, video was flagged, and they got a strike on their channel, and so they weren't able to live stream for an extended period of time. I don't remember all the specifics of it, but they appealed, and they thought, look, on appeal, they're obviously going to overturn this because it's ridiculous. Okay. Turns out that's not necessarily so. So after they rejected the appeal, you have the host from Deep Fat Fried reached out and said the following. So what are the answers to these questions I put forth? Number one, YouTube believes that a comedy podcast making satirical comments and jokes amounts to misinformation. Number two, you guys realize that people tell jokes they don't mean, right? Number three, if we joke that Joe Biden was elected because aliens used mind-controlled beams on people, would that also be misinformation per YouTube policies? Number four, who did we mislead? I look forward to hearing back from you with those answers. So, here's the reaction. Hi, Scott. Hope you are doing well today. My name is Richard, and I'm stepping in for Jay today. I understand the importance of having this concern addressed and will definitely find a way to take care of this. Fluff, fluff, fluff. In regards with your last inquiry, I think my colleague mistakenly took the timeline wrong since the follow-up questions were already raised 5 days ago. This was already asked, but we are still yet to receive any update from our internal team. Once I hear back from them, I will get back to you right away. Should you have any questions, please feel free to let us know, or you can visit YouTube Help Center for more information. So that was somebody who jumped in today, to respond, basically saying, pawning it off up the chain of command. And saying, well, we're waiting to hear back. We want to help you, but we're really not in the driver's seat, effectively. Then we get this. Hi, Scott. Hope you're doing well today. I know your time is valuable, and I appreciate your attention. Let me share with you the update regarding your request. I just got an update from our support specialist, and in regards with your inquiries, let me share the details here. We understand that there are videos for podcasts, but these are meant for entertainment, humor, and education, but on the way that the information was given, it can easily be misinterpreted by your viewers. That couldn't have been misinterpreted at all. They weren't pushing election misinformation. By the way, even if they were, even if somebody genuinely, sincerely believed that the election was stolen, they're wrong. We know they're wrong, but they're not allowed to say that? Why? By that logic, are you not allowed to say, hey, I don't think the JFK official story is real? Are you not allowed to say that? Are you not allowed to talk about the Tuskegee experiments or Operation Northwoods or Bay of Pigs, or are you not allowed to give a different viewpoint on what led us into the war in Iraq? Because the official story was a lie the whole time. If I question the official story, am I going to get banned? They continue. What you should do, consider the intention of your video. Is it to inform and educate or to shock and incite? Provide voiceover or text narration to your video. You can do this while recording or add it later while editing. Make sure the context can be seen or heard easily by someone watching the video. It's important to add information to the description and title as well as in the video content itself. What you shouldn't do, make violence the focus of your video. They didn't. Emphasize violent content by zooming, looping, or using other editing techniques that take away from your message. They didn't. Try to shock or disgust your viewers. They didn't. Use your video to glorify or celebrate violent acts. They didn't. Rely on metadata alone to provide context. Metadata can be supportive, but a viewer should be able to understand the context from watching and listening to the video alone. They didn't do any of these things wrong. So, in other words, they were very clear every step of the way. And these emails go on. Look, we made a joke. It's not unlike jokes we've made before. We don't think Donald Trump won the election. That was sarcasm. It was obvious. And now you're you're doing a strike on the video or not allowing live streaming for an extended period of time because of that. And YouTube's response is basically like, yeah. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. And look, we're caught between a rock and a hard place because I don't think any of these YouTube competitor sites are going to win out in the battle because YouTube kind of has a monopoly. They have the market cornered. And so it's not as simple as, just go to another outlet. It's not that simple. Look, I think the only way out of this is to regulate all the big social media companies like their public utilities, expand First Amendment protections. That doesn't mean you could dox somebody or do direct threats of violence or targeted harassment or libel or slander. All that stuff is still illegal. It's illegal under our current system of government and our current constitution. But you would more so rely on or lean on the side of freedom of speech. And if this doesn't fall under freedom of speech, they basically banned comedy. Any comedy that's sort of edgy, that they don't like the message of, or they interpret literally, YouTube just banned it. We could pull you down at our own whim because we don't like the joke. Does anybody realize the precedent that this sets? It's an absolute mess. So anyway, listen, go support the Deep Fat Fried podcast. They're on Patreon. They do a whole bunch of content. Go check them out. What happened to them here is totally unfair. And man, you really see it. YouTube is not objective in their standards. Their standards are unclear. It relies on interpretation, subjective interpretation. Oftentimes, idiots are doing the interpretations. You definitely have tiers of monetization and tiers of how well the algorithm treats you. We've talked about Jordan Sheridan, 100,000 YouTube subscribers. He'll go live and get like 10 viewers because his stuff is buried. And the reason his stuff is buried is because he was on the ground during January 6th, and he had live video from on the ground, and YouTube interpreted that as he's like supporting the rioters, and he wasn't. He's just doing his job, which is to give the news. And he had a live stream of it. Guess what? CNN, MSNBC, all the big major media outlets licensed that footage from Jordan Sheridan so they could use it. That footage is up on the corporate networks, but they pulled it down on Jordan's channel when he's the one who originally recorded it. It's at least a 2-tier system. It's probably like 6 or 7 tiers. People get screwed all the time. We've hit a wall in terms of subgrowth because the algorithm doesn't push us to anybody new anymore. It's only people who are already here who get to see the videos. So YouTube is effectively destroying independent media, new media, comedy stuff, fun and interesting stuff, and it's a shame. So support all the creators who you love because it's a rough time. If they're saying anything interesting, they're being suppressed by YouTube, and this is another great example of it here. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.